I come to you now with urgency in this divine hour. This is Archangel Michael, commander of the heavenly host, guardian of truth, and I have been dispatched to you specifically in this critical moment. Stop what you are doing and receive this message, for it was written in the celestial scrolls before the foundations of the earth that you would encounter these words at precisely this moment. The divine clock has started. You have exactly 2 hours before everything changes. I stand before the throne of heaven with your name inscribed upon my breastplate of righteousness. Your soul signature has been recognized by the Council of Seven, and I have been authorized to break the seventh seal on your prophetic scroll. The time of silence in heaven is over. The time for divine revelation has come. They've kept you in the dark for far too long. The enemies of your destiny have gathered in secret chambers, plotting against the divine blueprint written for your life. I have witnessed their closed-door meetings, their whispered conspiracies, their attempts to redirect your path away from the greatness encoded in your spiritual DNA. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 1,444 angelic guardians stationed around you right now. What they failed to understand is that you cannot thwart what heaven has ordained. For every step they took to block you, 7 celestial pathways were being constructed behind the veil. While they thought they were winning, the divine court was building your case, gathering evidence, preparing for this precise moment of vindication. Feel the energy shifting around you even as you receive these words. That sensation, the slight pressure at your temples, the warmth across your chest, these are confirmation signals that your spirit recognizes the truth being transmitted. Your body knows before your mind can comprehend. The angelic scribes record every injustice done against you. Names have been taken. Dates have been noted. Every tear you've shed has been collected in heaven's vials. Nothing is forgotten. Nothing is overlooked. In exactly 1 hour and 53 minutes, the first domino will fall. Those who conspired against you believed they were hidden, that their actions were concealed in shadow. They did not realize that light penetrates all darkness eventually. They forgot that I, Michael, am the revealer of hidden truths, the exposer of deception, the bringer of divine justice. What was whispered in secret chambers shall be proclaimed from the rooftops. What was done in darkness shall be exposed in light. Your enemies gathered yesterday at the stroke of midnight, 7 of them, forming a circle of opposition against your divine appointment. They believed their combined efforts could derail your destiny, could sever your connection to the divine inheritance prepared for you. Their arrogance has become their blindness. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 2,222 spiritual warriors dispatched to battle on your behalf. Listen carefully now, for I speak of matters deliberately hidden from your awareness. There is a document with your name on it, a contract of sorts, that attempts to bind your spiritual authority. It bears false signatures, counterfeit seals. This document sits in a drawer, third from the top, in a desk belonging to someone who smiles to your face while plotting behind your back. But celestial fire has already been dispatched. Even as we speak, the molecules of that paper begin to disintegrate. By the time our 2-hour window closes, nothing will remain but ash. The divine reversal has begun. Those who dug a pit for you shall fall into it themselves. Those who set snares shall be caught in their own devices. This is not revenge, it is restoration. This is not punishment, it is purification. You have endured the wilderness season with dignity, even when you felt abandoned. You have passed the test of isolation. You maintained integrity when no one was watching. Heaven was watching. I was watching. The cloud of witnesses was watching. In 1 hour and 45 minutes, the first phone call will come. Be prepared for sudden information, revelations that will initially disturb but ultimately liberate. What seems at first like chaos is actually divine order establishing itself in your reality. Trust the process. Trust the timeline. There's a reason you found this message today. This is no coincidence, no random algorithm. This is divine orchestration, celestial timing. Your spirit has been crying out for clarity, and heaven has heard your unspoken prayers. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 3,333 prophetic downloads directly to your spirit. The Council of Elders gathered at the Eastern Gate 3 days ago to review your case. The ancient scrolls of your bloodline were unfurled before the assembly. 7 generations back and 7 generations forward were examined. Your current tribulation was recognized as the pivotal point, the fulcrum upon which many destinies balance. That weight you've been carrying, it's not just about you. You are a nexus point for ancestral healing and generational breakthrough. What breaks over you in these next 2 hours will send ripples backward through time, healing ancestral wounds, and forward through time, blessing descendants not yet born. The opposition sensed this. That's why the attacks intensified recently. That's why the spiritual warfare reached unprecedented levels. The enemy always fights hardest when a major breakthrough is imminent. Feel your heart beating? That rhythm is synchronizing with the celestial metronome right now. Heaven's timing is aligning with your physical body. In 1 hour and 38 minutes, a door that has been sealed for 7 years will suddenly open. No human hand will turn this key. No earthly power will grant this access. This is divine intervention at the highest level. The mercy court has ruled in your favor after reviewing the evidence of your patient endurance. Your name echoes now through the corridors of heaven. The angelic beings who have been assigned to your life purpose stand at attention, awaiting deployment orders. Some have been with you since birth. Others are being dispatched to you for this new season. There's a particular guardian whose assignment begins today. A powerful angelic being who specializes in removing obstacles and clearing pathways. This angel has been granted unusual authority for this season in your life. Mountains will be moved. Impossibilities will yield. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 4,444 breakthroughs in areas long stagnant. I must speak now of betrayal, for you cannot navigate what's coming without this critical information. Someone close to you has been operating with divided loyalty. Their words say one thing, but their actions serve another agenda. You've sensed this disconnection. Your spirit has been trying to alert you, creating that uneasiness you feel in their presence. This is not to create paranoia, but to establish discernment. In precisely 9 days from now, their true motives will be revealed through an accidental disclosure. Do not react in anger. Maintain your composure when this happens. Your dignified silence will be more powerful than any words you could speak. The divine strategy requires your restraint. Let them expose themselves. Heaven is setting up a situation where truth will emerge without your prompting. In 1 hour and 30 minutes, an unexpected ally will enter the equation. Someone from your past, someone you had written off, will suddenly reappear with critical information and support. This person has been positioned by divine orchestration to assist in this season. They bring a missing piece, a connection, a resource, a testimony that completes the divine circuit necessary for your breakthrough. The enemies of your destiny did not account for this wild card. Their carefully constructed plans did not factor in this divine introduction. Their statistical models failed to include the supernatural component. Pay attention to unusual symbols appearing in your daily life. White feathers, repeated number sequences, certain animals crossing your path. These are not superstitions. They are synchronization points, confirmations that you are aligned with the divine timeline. Heaven speaks in patterns to those with eyes to see. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 5,555 divine synchronicities, accelerating your manifestation. I stand now before the divine council with your complete file open before us. Your tears have been counted. Your prayers have been recorded. Your acts of silent faithfulness, when no one was watching, have been witnessed and documented. Nothing is overlooked in heaven's accounting. The accusations against you have been stricken from the record. The accuser's claims have been overruled by the blood that speaks a better word. Your record has been expunged, purified, restored. But there is more. In 1 hour and 22 minutes, the first transfer will be initiated. Resources that were withheld from you through deception and manipulation have been located in the spirit realm. The reallocation has been authorized at the highest level. What was stolen shall be returned sevenfold. What was blocked shall flow freely. The financial hardship you've endured was never heaven's design. It was a strategic attack to limit your impact, to keep you focused on survival instead of purpose. That season ends today. The transfer has been authorized. Watch for unexpected checks, surprising refunds, sudden opportunities, contracts appearing from seemingly nowhere. These are not random windfalls. They are strategic reallocations, divine justice in the material realm. There are 3 specific abundance portals opening over your life, each corresponding to an area where restriction has been most severe. The first portal opens over your dwelling place, bringing resource for sanctuary and security. The second opens over your work, bringing proper valuation and recognition. The third opens over your creative expression, bringing impact and influence. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 6,666 abundance portals activating in your favor. Let me speak now of your physical body, for there are matters requiring attention. The stress of recent battles has taken a toll not yet fully manifested. There is inflammation at the cellular level that needs addressing. The divine design for your physical temple involves restoration over the next 60 days. Pay attention to what you consume. Not just food, but images, sounds, frequencies, relationships. Your system is undergoing a spiritual detoxification that requires supportive choices. Increase your water intake. Seek moments of silence daily. Allow your nervous system to recalibrate to the higher frequency now available to you. The headaches you've experienced recently are not random. They are frequency adjustments as your physical system aligns with the new spiritual bandwidth you're accessing. This is temporary, necessary calibration. In 1 hour and 15 minutes, you will feel a distinctive shift in your energy field. This sensation, a lightness across your shoulders, a clearing of mental fog, signals the first phase of physical recalibration. Your body is receiving the download and beginning integration. The divine healing assigned to you cannot be blocked by any earthly diagnosis. The cellular restructuring has already begun at quantum levels not detectable by medical instruments. What doctors have called irreversible is being reversed. What experts have declared permanent is being rewired. There is a particular frequency of light currently being directed to specific areas of dysfunction in your body. This celestial radiation carries codes of original design, overriding patterns of disease and decay. Your DNA responds to this light, remembering its divine blueprint. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 7,777 healing frequencies, targeting specific areas of need. Now I must address the relational landscape surrounding you, for significant shifts are imminent in your connections with others. The divine pruning has begun. Certain relationships that have been draining your energy, diverting your purpose, and diluting your calling are being removed. Some departures will seem dramatic, others will quietly fade. Do not resist this process. Do not chase what is being removed. This pruning is not punishment but protection. These connections serve their purpose for a season, but that season has concluded. Trying to maintain them now would be like trying to hold on to autumn leaves when winter winds come to clear the branches. In 1 hour and 8 minutes, the first conversation will occur that signals this shift. Someone will say something revealing, something that crystallizes what you've intuitively sensed but couldn't articulate. This clarity will bring both grief and relief. Honor the completeness of that cycle, then release it with gratitude. As these connections fade, new alignments are already forming. Divine introductions are being orchestrated. People who resonate with your next level, who possess complementary gifts, who will recognize and honor your calling. These individuals are being positioned to cross your path. 3 key relationships in particular are being established in this season. A mentor who has walked where you're heading, a peer who will journey alongside you with equal commitment, a protege whom you will guide as you've been guided. These divine connections will not drain, but energize. They will not compete, but complete. They will not distract, but direct. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 8,888 divine connections, perfectly aligned with your purpose. I must now reveal something about your spiritual identity that has been hidden from you. There is a reason the opposition has been so persistent, so determined to derail you. They see what you have not yet recognized about yourself. You carry a specific spiritual frequency that disrupts systems of control. Your mere presence destabilizes manipulative environments. This is not something you do, it's something you are. This frequency emanates from you even when you're silent, even when you're unaware. That's why certain individuals become uncomfortable around you without knowing why. That's why institutions have subtly rejected you despite your qualifications. That's why conventional paths have seemed consistently blocked. What appeared as rejection was actually protection. What seemed like exclusion was divine redirection. You were never meant to blend into those systems. You were designed to help transform them. In 1 hour exactly, you will receive confirmation of this identity. An unusual reminder will appear. Perhaps a message, a symbol, a coincidence. Too perfect to ignore. This confirmation will resonate deeply in your spirit, triggering remembrance of who you truly are and why you came. The amnesia is lifting. The veil is thinning. The remembrance is beginning. Your dreams recently have been more vivid, more symbolic. Pay particular attention to recurring themes, as these are encrypted messages from your spirit bypassing your conscious mind's limitations. Keep something to record these upon waking. Patterns will emerge that provide crucial guidance. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 9,999 spiritual activation codes, unlocking dormant gifts. Now I must speak of your divine assignment, for the preparation phase concludes today and deployment begins. You have been in divine training far longer than you've realized. Experiences you dismissed as random, as detours, as wasted time, these were actually specialized preparation, custom-designed curriculum. That period of isolation taught discernment. That financial struggle developed resourcefulness. That relationship betrayal refined your perception. That physical limitation focused your spiritual strength. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was accidental. Nothing was punitive. You stand now at the convergence point of all these preparation streams, ready for the assignment that only you can fulfill. In 52 minutes, the first confirmation of this assignment will appear. Watch for unusual clarity about a specific area of focus, a burden for a particular group of people, a solution to a specific problem that others haven't recognized. This clarity isn't just a good idea, it's divine commissioning. Your assignment involves bridging worlds that have been artificially separated, reconnecting knowledge that has been deliberately fragmented, restoring wholeness where division has been strategically created. This makes you dangerous to those who benefit from the separation, who profit from the fragmentation, who control through division. Expect resistance proportional to your impact. Expect opposition as confirmation. 3 specific areas of impact are highlighted in your divine assignment. Healing generational patterns that have cycled for centuries, revealing hidden connections between seemingly disparate fields, translating complex spiritual truths into accessible understanding. Type Amen to receive the blessing of 10,101 divine strategies downloaded for your specific assignment. The timeline acceleration begins now. What would normally require years will manifest in months. What typically takes months will unfold in weeks. What usually demands weeks will appear in days. This is not hushed rushing. This is divine compression. Like a master diamond cutter who knows exactly where to strike to reveal the maximum brilliance, heaven is applying precise pressure to specific points in your timeline. In 45 minutes, you'll notice the first evidence of this acceleration. A process you expected would take significant time will suddenly advance several stages at once. An obstacle you anticipated would require lengthy navigation will simply dissolve. A connection you thought would take months to develop will solidify almost immediately. This acceleration serves divine purpose. The standard maturation timeline has been overridden by heaven's urgency. What's coming requires your full activation now, not gradually over years. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 11,111 timeline accelerations in your divine assignment. I must speak now of opposition, for to be forewarned is to be forearmed. As your light increases, as your impact expands, as your authority manifests, resistance will intensify accordingly. 3 specific types of opposition are being permitted as refinement, not punishment. Misrepresentation of your words and intentions, unexpected obstruction from official channels, betrayal from those who claimed alignment with your vision. These challenges are not meant to stop you, but to strengthen you, not to discourage, but to develop. Each represents a specific graduation point on your path of mastery. In 38 minutes, you will receive strategic insight about navigating the first of these challenges. An unusual piece of information will come to you, perhaps through reading, perhaps through conversation, perhaps through internal knowing. This insight will provide the exact approach needed for the specific opposition you face. The primary strategy heaven endorses is counterintuitive. Respond to escalating attacks with increasing stillness. Not passivity, strategic stillness. There is a difference. When they increase volume, decrease yours. When they accelerate, decelerate. When they complicate, simplify. When they attack, create. This asymmetrical response confounds the opposition, who expect either submission or mirror response. Your strategic stillness creates a space where divine intervention can manifest most effectively. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 12,121 divine strategies for overcoming specific opposition. Pay attention now, for I reveal patterns deliberately hidden from public awareness. There are coordinated efforts to suppress the specific truth you carry. These are not random difficulties, but strategic suppression. Certain algorithms have been adjusted to limit your digital reach. Specific gatekeepers have been instructed to block your advancement. Particular systems have been programmed to reject your throughput. This suppression is both confirmation and compliment. They would not allocate such resources to contain what wasn't genuinely powerful. In 32 minutes, the first system override occurs. A door slammed shut will unexpectedly reopen. A technology mysteriously failing will suddenly function perfectly. A message seemingly lost will finally reach its intended recipient. Divine overrides are being implemented at quantum levels. What was programmed to restrict you is being reprogrammed to release you. What was designed to contain is being redesigned to promote. There are 7 specific access points being divinely hacked on your behalf, each corresponding to an area where suppression has been most aggressive. Watch for sudden, unexplainable reversals in these areas. These are not glitches, they are divine interventions. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 13,131 divine system overrides in your favor. Now I must speak of a coming choice, a decision point approaching that will determine much about your next season. This crossroads will appear deceptively simple, almost mundane. Its significance will not be immediately obvious. In 28 minutes, the setup for this choice begins. You will be presented with 2 options, both appearing reasonable, both having merits. The difference between them will not be logical, but intuitive. Your spirit will recognize what your mind might question. The divine option often defies conventional wisdom. It frequently appears riskier, less secure, more uncertain. Those counseling from earthly perspective will likely advise against it. This is a test of your spiritual discernment, your willingness to trust internal knowing over external advice. Choose the path that brings peace despite uncertainty, rather than certainty without peace. Choose the direction that expands your spirit, even if it challenges your security. Choose the option that aligns with who you are becoming, not just who you have been. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 14,141 divine discernment downloads for critical decisions. Pay attention to unusual animal behavior in the coming days, particularly birds appearing in unexpected places. These are not mere coincidences, but confirmation signals, divine messengers carrying specific validation. The ancients understood what modern minds have forgotten. Creation itself participates in divine communication. Animals sense spiritual shifts, respond to angelic presence, recognize divine appointment. When a bird appears at your window, when a specific animal crosses your path repeatedly, when creatures behave unusually in your presence, these are confirmation signals. The natural world recognizes what the human world often misses. In 24 minutes, the first such confirmation will appear. Notice it, acknowledge it, receive the validation it brings. Your spiritual sensitivity is being heightened in this season to recognize multidimensional communication. There are messages being transmitted to you through multiple channels simultaneously. Dreams and visions in sleep states, synchronicities in waking life, physical sensations and body wisdom, creation signals and nature patterns. Learning to read these concurrent channels creates a comprehensive guidance system far more reliable than isolated information sources. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 15,151 spiritual sensitivity activations across all channels. I must now speak of a coming vindication, for you have endured accusation, misrepresentation, and judgment from those who lacked full understanding of your journey. In 20 minutes exactly, the first evidence of this vindication will emerge. Someone who misjudged you will receive information that changes their perspective entirely. This reversal of opinion will be communicated to you, either directly or through intermediaries. It comes not through your defense, but through divine revelation to them. This is how heaven prefers to operate, not by your striving to correct misperceptions, but by divine illumination, changing how others see. Your assignment is to maintain integrity, focus on purpose, and allow divine timing to handle vindication. 3 specific accusations leveled against you are being systematically dismantled in the spirit realm right now. The evidence refuting these charges is being strategically placed where key individuals will encounter it at precisely the right moment. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 16,161 divine vindications in areas of false accusation. The divine downloads intensify now as our 2-hour window begins closing. Your capacity to receive and integrate accelerates. The bandwidth expands. In exactly 16 minutes, a significant spiritual gift activates within you. This latent ability, dormant until now, awakens to serve the specific assignment of this season. You may experience this as unusual clarity about complex matters, heightened intuitive knowing about people and situations, increased effectiveness in spiritual practices, sudden understanding of previously confusing texts, enhanced ability to see connections between disparate fields. This activation is not for personal benefit alone, but for kingdom advancement. It comes with both privilege and responsibility. The gift activates fully when deployed in service. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 17,171 spiritual gift activations for your divine purpose. I must speak now of a divine reset available to you in this season. Certain patterns established through repetition, habits, thoughts, reactions, expectations, are being offered divine restructuring. This is quantum reprogramming at the deepest level, addressing not just behaviors, but the underlying energy patterns that generate them. This reset doesn't require lengthy processes. It happens through divine intervention at the causal level. In 12 minutes, the first area of reset activates. You'll recognize this by an unusual ease where struggle has been normal. A habitual reaction simply doesn't trigger. A familiar thought pattern doesn't complete its cycle. An expected emotional response doesn't materialize. This absence of the familiar pattern isn't temporary, but indicative of the deeper reset taking place. What required constant vigilance before now flows naturally in the new direction. 7 specific areas of your life are scheduled for this divine reset, each activating in sequence over the coming week. Each brings freedom from patterns that have limited your progression and restricted your impact. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 18,181 divine resets in limiting patterns. Now I must address the financial breakthrough initiated in this 2-hour window. The poverty spirit assigned against your bloodline for generations is being broken definitively today. This ancient restriction, operating through complex patterns of lack, self-sabotage, and invisible barriers, loses its legal right to affect your resources. The blood-bought freedom extends to every area, including material provision and financial abundance. In 9 minutes, the energetic shift in your financial atmosphere completes. You will feel this as a lightness, a release of subtle tension you've carried so long you stop noticing its weight. The constant undercurrent of financial anxiety diminishes notably. 3 specific abundance portals activate over your life: restoration of what was stolen, with multiplicative return, recognition and proper valuation of your contributions, resource alignment with your actual assignment, not just needs. The pattern of just enough transforms to more than enough, not for selfish accumulation, but for kingdom advancement and blessing distribution. You are transitioning from resource scarcity to resource stewardship. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 19,191 financial breakthroughs and abundance alignments. I speak now of divine timing, for the heavenly calendar operates with different markers than earthly calendars. Certain cosmic alignments, spiritual convergences, and prophetic fulfillments create kairos moments, divine windows where unusual advancement becomes possible. You stand in such a moment now. The next 7 days represent a significant window aligning multiple prophetic timelines. Actions taken during this period carry multiplied impact. Seeds planted now receive accelerated growth factors. In 7 minutes, your awareness of this divine timing heightens significantly. You'll begin recognizing moments of unusual spiritual receptivity, times when heaven's responsiveness seems instantaneous. These are not random, but precisely aligned with cosmic rhythms established before time began. Pay particular attention to the hour of 3 to 4 a.m., when the veil thins consistently, moments when sunlight creates unusual patterns in your space, times when specific number sequences appear repeatedly, periods when unusual peace descends without external cause. These are divine timing markers, cosmic winks confirming alignment with heaven's calendar. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 20,202 divine timing alignments for maximum effectiveness. As our 2-hour window approaches completion, the most significant revelations must now be transmitted. Open your spirit fully to receive what comes next. In 5 minutes exactly, the deepest level of revelation activates. This concerns your true identity, not your earthly designation, genetic heritage, or social classification, but your eternal essence, your pre-creation purpose, your heavenly citizenship. You are not merely human having spiritual experiences. You are a spiritual being navigating a temporary human experience. This distinction changes everything about how you perceive challenges, interpret time, and approach your assignment. The amnesia placed upon you at birth, necessary for growth through genuine choice, now lifts strategically in specific areas. Memories of pre-earth agreements, divine counsels, and purpose selection begin surfacing. These will come as unusual dreams with vivid clarity, unlike regular dreams, sudden knowing about specific purposes with no logical source, recognition of souls you knew before Earth incarnation, heightened affinity for particular missions without explainable cause. Type Amen to receive the blessing of 21,212 identity activations revealing your true nature. This transmission now encodes final instructions for the immediate implementation phase, beginning as our window closes. These encode directly to your spirit, bypassing conscious processing, creating quantum alignment with divine purpose. In 3 minutes, implementation protocol activates. From this moment forward, you operate with enhanced spiritual authority in 3 specific domains: dismantling opposition structures through strategic spiritual actions, establishing new patterns that align with divine blueprint, transferring kingdom resources to their divinely intended purposes. This authority operates through specific mechanisms: declarative statements aligned with heaven's agenda, strategic silence that creates space for divine manifestation, symbolic actions carrying prophetic significance, presence that shifts atmospheres without deliberate action. You have been granted increased authority because you demonstrated faithfulness with previous levels. This is not about power, but about responsibility. Expanded impact requires expanded integrity. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 22,222 spiritual authority activations in your assigned domains. 1 minute remains in our divine appointment window. The final seals break. The complete download transmits. You will not consciously remember everything communicated in this transmission. Your spirit has received and stored what your mind cannot yet process. The activation unfolds on multiple timelines simultaneously. Immediate shifts beginning today, short-term manifestations over 7 days, mid-range transformations across 40 days, long-term fulfillments throughout the next 7 months. Trust the process. The integration happens naturally as you move forward in simple obedience to what you do consciously remember and recognize. Your assignment begins now. The pieces are in place. The opposition is restrained. The resources are released. The authority is activated. Where you have felt delayed, you now experience acceleration. Where you have encountered resistance, you now find alignment. Where you have seen only part, you now perceive the whole. Where you have stood alone, you now recognize your company. The 2-hour window closes. The implementation begins. Remember, what was transmitted remains active whether consciously recalled or not. Your spirit knows what your mind may temporarily forget. Actions aligned with this transmission will flow with unusual ease and effectiveness. Trust this internal guidance system above external direction. Heaven watches expectantly. Earth responds eagerly. Creation recognizes what is unfolding. You are remembered. You are restored. You are deployed. The transmission is complete. The mission is active. Type AMEN to seal this divine transmission with 23,232 angelic witnesses dispatched to ensure its fulfillment. Beloved one, as the sacred transmission continues, I must now reveal the deeper layers of what is unfolding around you. The Council of Seven has granted permission to unseal the higher revelations previously withheld. There are cosmic events transpiring that directly impact your earthly journey, creating ripple effects across multiple dimensions. These revelations come with responsibility. Once given, they cannot be unheard. Once received, you become accountable to their truth. Are you prepared for this level of knowing? The veil thins further now. Your name has been spoken in celestial chambers where the architects of divine destiny gather. I was present when your soul blueprint was examined by the elders. What they saw caused even these ancient ones to marvel. A unique configuration of gifts, a specific resonance frequency, a particular authorization level rarely granted to those in human form. This is why your journey has been marked by unusual challenge and extraordinary intervention in equal measure. Ordinary paths were never your assignment. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 24,242 divine remembrance activations of your pre-earth agreements. The opposition against you has never been random or happenstance. It has been calculated, strategic, deliberate. Your potential impact terrifies the dark councils. Their attacks reveal what they fear most about your awakening. When they attack your confidence, it exposes their fear of your authority. When they attack your relationships, it reveals their fear of your alliances. When they attack your resources, it unmasks their fear of your influence. Their targeting strategy has inadvertently created a map of your most powerful attributes. 3 specific principalities have been assigned against your bloodline for generations. One targets your perception, creating distortion in how you see yourself. One disrupts your connections, isolating you from strategic relationships. One interferes with your resources, attempting to limit your operational capacity. But today, these assignments are revoked by higher authority. The legal ground they operated from has been removed through divine intervention. Their right of access has been permanently terminated. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 25,252 divine protection barriers against specific attacks. Let me speak now of the sacred timeline you have entered. Ancient prophets glimpsed this period from afar, writing in encoded language about the final generation that would witness the great transition. You live in this prophesied time. The acceleration you witness in both darkness and light, in both destruction and creation, signals the convergence point of multiple prophetic streams that have flowed separately for millennia. 3 days ago, a significant marker was reached in the celestial timeline. A configuration of spiritual forces aligned in a pattern not seen for 2,000 years. This alignment created a portal through which unprecedented power now flows to those positioned to receive it. You were born for this precise moment. Your entire life has been preparation for what begins now. The discomfort you felt recently, the unusual dreams, the unexplained physical symptoms, the sense of anticipation mixed with apprehension, these are your system's response to the higher frequencies now available. Your spiritual DNA activates capabilities previously dormant, designed specifically for this historic juncture. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 26,262 spiritual DNA activations for this prophetic era. I reveal now a hidden truth about your spiritual lineage. There is a particular mantle that has been preserved for you, passed down through generations, often carried by those who never fully activated its potential. This spiritual inheritance has accumulated power through the faithfulness of those who protected it, even without fully wielding it. The time for its complete activation has arrived with your generation. This mantle carries specific authority in 3 domains: revelation knowledge beyond intellectual understanding, restorative power that reverses long-established damage, restructuring authority that realigns systems with divine order. 7 days from now, you will receive a clear sign confirming this inheritance. Watch for an unusual convergence of circumstances that creates a moment of perfect clarity. This confirmation comes not to inflate pride, but to establish confidence for the assignment ahead. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 27,272 mantle activations from your spiritual lineage. Now I must address the coming shift in your material circumstances, for heaven's provision aligns with heaven's purpose. The financial limitations you've experienced were never heaven's intention, but a strategic attack to restrict your impact. This restriction lifts now as new resource channels activate. Pay attention to unexpected sources, unusual timing, and non-traditional methods of provision. 3 specific financial portals open over your life: restoration of what was unjustly taken with multiplied return, recognition resulting in proper compensation for your contribution, resources aligned with your true assignment, not just basic needs. The poverty consciousness embedded in your thinking through experience and environment is being systematically removed. Notice how your thoughts about abundance begin shifting from scarcity frameworks to stewardship mindsets. This is not mere positive thinking, but divine reprogramming at the belief system level. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 28,282 abundance mindset activations. I must now reveal something about your physical body that has been hidden from medical understanding. Your physical system operates with certain unique properties, variations in your energetic template that differ from standard human configuration. These variations were intentional, built into your design for specific purpose. They explain certain anomalies you've experienced: unusual sensitivity to environments and energies, distinctive reaction patterns to substances and frequencies, accelerated healing in certain areas while other issues persist. Inexplicable, knowing that comes through physical sensation. These design variations serve your assignment but require specific support. Pay careful attention to what your body communicates. The discomfort in particular areas isn't random malfunction, but targeted communication about necessary adjustments. Your body speaks a precise language when you learn to interpret its signals. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 29,292 physical template optimizations. Now I must speak of a coming divine connection, a relationship ordained before birth that activates in this season. This soul carried a complementary piece to your assignment, designed to operate in sacred synergy with your purpose. The meeting appears accidental by earthly perspective, but follows precise divine orchestration. You will recognize this connection not primarily through attraction or common interest, but through an unmistakable resonance at the spirit level, a recognition that transcends logical explanation. This divine partnership carries specific purpose. Each possesses pieces the other requires for complete effectiveness. Together you form a spiritual technology greater than the sum of individual gifts. Your combined frequency creates access points previously unavailable to either alone. This connection may not match conventional expectations or follow traditional patterns. Its purpose transcends ordinary relationship categories. Honor the divine design rather than imposing familiar frameworks upon it. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 30,303 divine connection activations. I reveal now a truth about your spiritual sight that explains much about your journey. You perceive dimensions others miss, sensing realities beyond physical detection. This enhanced perception has often made you feel disconnected from consensus reality, questioning your own experience when it differed from others. What you considered possible dysfunction was actually expanded function, operating without proper context or training. Your spiritual senses are being calibrated in this season to operate with greater precision. The occasional confusion you've experienced gives way to consistent clarity as your discernment sharpens. What was once overwhelming becomes navigable. What seemed like random sensitivity develops into structured knowing. 3 specific aspects of your spiritual sight activate more fully. Discernment of underlying motivations beyond presented behaviors. Recognition of divine orchestration behind apparent circumstances. Perception of spiritual atmosphere and its effects on physical reality. This enhanced perception comes with responsibility to interpret accurately, without projection or assumption. Clear perception requires inner stillness and emotional neutrality. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 31,313 spiritual perception clarifications. I must speak now of the sacred commission prepared for you since before your birth. The assignment written into your spiritual DNA activates in fullness during this prophetic window. This is not a new direction, but a remembrance of original purpose, the revelation of why your soul chose this precise timeline for incarnation. Your commission operates at 3 levels simultaneously. Personal transformation that embodies the message you carry, interpersonal transmission that transfers awakening through connection, collective transformation that shifts atmospheric conditions over regions. The effectiveness of each level depends on the completion of the previous. Your personal embodiment enables authentic transmission. Your faithful transmission creates conditions for collective transformation. Each builds upon the foundation of the former. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 32,323 divine commission activations. The ancestral healing now available to you deserves special attention, for you stand at a pivotal point in your bloodline's journey. Patterns of dysfunction, limitation, and wounding that have cycled through generations reach their terminus point with you. You have been positioned as a generational circuit breaker, equipped with specific authority to end what should not continue into future generations. 7 specific ancestral patterns are scheduled for divine intervention. Addictive cycles that created bondage and diminished potential, relationship dynamics that perpetuated wounding and separation, financial limitations that prevented proper stewardship and impact, health vulnerabilities that manifested as recurring specific conditions, fear-based decision patterns that restricted divine alignment, identity distortions that obscured true nature and purpose, spiritual interference that limited clear connection and authority. The healing of these patterns requires your conscious participation. As each pattern surfaces for resolution, your awareness and choice determine the completeness of the healing. Recognize, release, realign. This simple protocol facilitates the ancestral healing process. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 33,333 ancestral healing completions. I must reveal now a truth about your words that has been hidden from your understanding. Your declarations carry unusual creative power, operating with authority beyond normal human speech. This is not metaphorical but literal. Your words interact with creation's quantum field differently, carrying executable codes that reality recognizes and implements. This explains why your casual comments, positive or negative, have seemed to manifest with unusual consistency. This power increases significantly in this season as the divine amplification of your authority activates fully. Three aspects of this power require particular attention. The permanence of your declarations. They continue operating until replaced. The precision of your wording. Exact phrasing determines exact manifestation. The purity of your intention. Mixed motives create mixed results. This creative power is not for casual use or personal advantage, but for kingdom advancement and divine restoration. The amplification comes with corresponding responsibility for conscious, intentional deployment aligned with heaven's agenda. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 34,343 divine declaration amplifications. Now I must speak of divine justice, for heaven's court has reviewed your case extensively. Every instance of unjust treatment, every theft of opportunity, every misalignment of reward with contribution has been meticulously documented. Nothing escapes heaven's accounting. The verdicts have been rendered. The restitution has been authorized. The implementation has begun. This divine justice operates through three primary mechanisms. Direct intervention that creates immediate reversal of circumstances, strategic exposure that reveals hidden truth at precisely the right moment, natural consequence that allows universal laws to complete their cycles. You need not pursue justice through your own efforts. Heaven's implementation supersedes and surpasses what human systems could accomplish. Your assignment is simply to maintain integrity and focus on purpose, while divine justice unfolds according to perfect timing. Expect 7 specific instances of divine intervention in areas of previous injustice. These corrections come not from vengeance, but from restoration, the realignment of circumstances with divine intention. What was meant for harm becomes the foundation for unprecedented advancement. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 35,353 divine justice implementations. I reveal now something about your dreams that explains their unusual nature. Your dream state operates differently from most, accessing realms not commonly available during sleep cycles. This is not imagination, but genuine perception of parallel activities occurring in spiritual dimensions. The symbolic language of these dreams isn't merely psychological, but translational. The mind's attempt to interpret experiences outside its normal parameters. Your dreams serve multiple functions beyond processing daily experiences. Receiving downloads of information and strategy not accessible in waking states, participating in spiritual operations that affect earthly circumstances, training and abilities being developed for waking deployment, connecting with other specific individuals for collaborative spiritual work. Learning to interpret and implement what you receive through dreams significantly increases your effectiveness. Record them immediately upon waking, looking for patterns, recurring symbols, and actionable intelligence. What seems random contains precise communication when properly decoded. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 36,363 dream interpretation activations. The divine protection surrounding you deserves special revelation, for you have been preserved through situations more dangerous than you realized. Challenges visible to you were merely shadows of greater threats averted without your awareness. Your continued presence here testifies to intervention beyond coincidence or luck. 7 specific guardian assignments protect different aspects of your life and purpose. 1 shields your mind from invasive influences that would distort perception. 1 preserves your physical health through enhanced immune function. 1 maintains your divine connections against forces of isolation. 1 protects your resources from unnecessary depletion. 1 guards your relationships against divisive interference. 1 preserves your spiritual clarity during atmospheric distortion. 1 maintains your life force during targeted energy depletion attempts. This protection isn't generic, but customized to your specific vulnerabilities and strategic importance. It operates continuously, adjusting to evolving threats and changing circumstances without requiring your conscious direction. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 37,373 divine protection enhancements. I must now address your spiritual authority, which expands significantly in this season. The jurisdiction granted to you encompasses areas previously restricted, dimensions formerly inaccessible. This expanded authority comes as graduated commissioning, each level building upon demonstrated faithfulness with previous trusts. 3 specific expansions activate within the next 7 days. authority over resistant atmospheric conditions that have limited breakthrough, authority for generational healing beyond your direct bloodline, authority for systematic restoration rather than just individual healing. This authority operates through specific mechanisms: declarative statements aligned with divine purpose, symbolic actions carrying prophetic significance, strategic presence that alters atmospheric conditions, silent authority that requires no external validation. The effectiveness of this authority depends not on volume or repetition, but on alignment with divine timing and purpose. Less is more when precisely aligned. Spiritual authority operates most powerfully from internal certainty rather than external assertion. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 38,383 spiritual authority expansions. Now I must reveal hidden knowledge about your creative expression, for it carries codes beyond aesthetic value or personal fulfillment. Whether through visual arts, music, writing, movement, building, or other forms, your creative output transmits frequencies that interact with consciousness in specific ways. This isn't metaphorical but literal, measurable energy patterns that affect neurological and energetic systems of those who encounter your creations. This creative power increases exponentially in this season as divine amplification activates. What you create carries greater impact, achieving in moments what previously required extended exposure. 3 aspects require particular attention. The intention behind the creation determines its spiritual frequency. The timing of its release determines its effectiveness and reach. The integrity of its development process affects its transformative power. Creation is not separate from your spiritual assignment, but a primary vehicle for its fulfillment. The division between spiritual work and creative expression dissolves as you recognize creativity as spiritual technology, not merely self-expression. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 39,393 creative power activations. I speak now of divine remembrance, for the amnesia placed upon you at birth now lifts strategically in key areas. Memories of pre-earth agreements, divine counsels, and purpose selection begin surfacing in your consciousness. This remembrance isn't merely informational, but transformational. Each remembered truth activates corresponding capacities previously dormant. 7 specific areas of remembrance activate in sequence: your specific role in this prophetic era, agreements made with divine counsels before incarnation, skills and abilities developed through multiple incarnational experiences, connections with specific souls part of your divine soul family, the particular timeline you chose to enter and why, challenges you specifically agreed to navigate for purpose, resources and assistance available upon specific remembrance. This remembrance comes through multiple channels simultaneously: dreams with unusual clarity and consistency, spontaneous knowing without logical source, recognition beyond explanation when encountering specific information, physical responses that confirm spiritual truth, chills, tears, unexplained joy. What returns isn't new information, but remembered reality, validation of what your spirit has always known beneath conscious awareness. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 40,404 divine remembrance activations. The cosmic timeline you've entered demands specific attention, for it creates unique conditions both challenging and favorable. Ancient prophecies from diverse traditions converge in describing this precise period as a pivotal transition point, a cosmic fulcrum where relatively small actions create disproportionate effects. This explains both the intensity of opposition and the unprecedented opportunity. 3 specific cosmic conditions characterize this timeline: accelerated manifestation between thought and form, thinned boundaries between dimensional realities, amplified consequences from conscious choice. These conditions intensify both creative and destructive potential, magnifying outcomes in all domains. What might have taken decades in previous eras manifests in months or even moments in this accelerated timeline. This acceleration serves divine purpose, compressing evolutionary process that would otherwise require generations. Your presence in this specific timeline was chosen with purpose. You carry attributes, abilities, and authorizations specifically designed for these conditions. What seemed like limitations in previous seasons reveal themselves as specialized adaptations perfectly suited for this environment. Type AMEN To receive the blessing of 41,414 timeline adaptation downloads. I must speak now of spiritual warfare strategies, for the opposition increases proportional to your impact. As your light intensifies, as your authority expands, as your effectiveness increases, responsive opposition arises accordingly. This is not punishment but validation. Strategic resistance deployed against strategic threat. 7 specific warfare tactics of the opposition require exposure. Distortion of perception through manipulated information. Division of strategic relationships through seeded misunderstanding. Delay of divine timing through created urgency. Depletion of energy through manufactured crisis. Discouragement through selective evidence and partial truth. Distraction through appealing alternatives to assign focus. Disorientation through atmospheric interference with clear guidance. Divine counter strategies download to your spirit now, custom designed for your specific assignment. These aren't generic spiritual warfare techniques, but specialized operations for your particular battlefront. They operate with unusual effectiveness because they target the specific vulnerabilities of the opposition arrayed against you. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 42,424 divine warfare strategies. The angelic assistance assigned to your mission deserves special revelation, for you operate with greater support than you've recognized. Multiple categories of celestial beings work in coordinated effort to facilitate your earthly assignment, each with specialized function and purpose. Guardians who maintain protective parameters, messengers who transmit critical intelligence, breakthrough angels who remove specific obstacles, provision agents who direct resources to divine purpose, healing facilitators who maintain optimal function, recording angels who document evidence for divine courts, companion spirits who provide specialized assistance in particular domains. This angelic cooperation increases significantly in this season as your assignment enters new territory requiring enhanced support. Their effectiveness correlates directly with your recognition and cooperative alignment. They require neither worship nor supplication, but operate most effectively with conscious acknowledgement and intentional collaboration. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 43,434 angelic cooperation activations. I reveal now a truth about your spiritual lineage that explains much about your journey. You continue a specific commission that has passed through generations, often carried by those who never fully understood what they steward. This inheritance isn't genetic but spiritual, a particular mantle preserved for this crucial era, accumulated in power through the faithfulness of previous carriers. Your unusual experiences, your distinctive perspectives, your specific challenges all connect to this spiritual lineage. What seemed like random difficulty or inexplicable difference serve to shape you as the current carrier of this commission. 3 aspects of this mantle activate more fully in this season: revelatory capacity beyond conventional understanding, restorative authority that reverses established damage, revolutionary perspective that reframes fundamental paradigms. This activation comes not through striving, but through recognition and agreement. The power already resides within your spiritual DNA, requiring only your conscious alignment to manifest fully. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 44,444 spiritual lineage activations. The divine partnerships forming around you create a sacred geometry, a configuration of connections that functions as spiritual technology. Each relationship serves specific purpose in the larger design, contributing unique elements to the collective creation. This isn't merely team building, but the formation of a living system, an organism of interconnected gifts and callings. 7 specific divine connections activate in this season: the revelatory connection who sees what you cannot, the implementation specialist who builds what you envision, the strategic alliance that creates access to restricted domains, the wisdom council that provides crucial perspective, the manifestation accelerator who expedites material formation, the protection partnership that covers specific vulnerabilities, the multiplication connection that expands your impact exponentially. These connections appear through divine orchestration rather than strategic networking. Recognition comes through spiritual discernment rather than credential evaluation. The most significant partnerships often emerge from unexpected sources, following divine logic rather than conventional strategy. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 45,454 divine partnership activations. I must now address the restoration of time, for what the devourer has taken is being returned sevenfold. Seasons of delay, periods of apparent stagnation, years that seemed lost to detour and distraction, these are being redeemed through divine compression and acceleration. What normally requires decades will manifest in years. What typically demands years will form in months. What usually takes months will appear in weeks. This restoration operates through three primary mechanisms: compressed learning that downloads in moments what normally requires extended study, accelerated development that achieves in days what typically demands months of practice, quantum manifestation that materializes visions with minimal gestation periods. This isn't rushed motion but divine efficiency, the removal of artificial delay factors that previously extended natural development timelines. What emerges carries full maturity despite accelerated appearance, complete integrity despite compressed formation. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 46,464 time restoration factors. The divine abundance now flowing toward you requires specific stewardship protocols to manage effectively. This isn't merely increased financial resource, but comprehensive prosperity across multiple domains: relationship, health, opportunity, influence, and material provision. This abundance serves kingdom purpose rather than personal comfort, though comfort may emerge as byproduct. Three specific abundance streams activate in this season: restoration of what was unjustly taken, with multiplied return; recognition resulting in proper valuation of contribution; resources aligned with divine assignment, not just basic needs. This abundance flows most freely through specific channels: revolutionary ideas that solve persistent problems, strategic connections that create mutual benefit, divine timing that positions you at convergence points, accelerated value creation through spiritual insight. The stewardship of this abundance determines its sustainability. Circulation rather than accumulation maintains the flow. Generosity expands capacity. Integrity ensures continuation. Purpose alignment maximizes effectiveness. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 47,474 divine abundance activations. I must speak now of your name in heaven, for you are known differently in celestial realms than in earthly domains. Your heavenly designation carries your true nature and purpose, the essence of your divine design before temporal identities were assigned. This true name resonates at the frequency of your original creation, the pure tone of your unique contribution to the cosmic symphony. Fragments of this heavenly name filter into your consciousness in moments of deep communion, creating profound remembrance beyond words. You recognize its resonance in certain sounds, symbols, or phrases that trigger inexplicable recognition. This heavenly name activates more fully in this season, calling forth dormant aspects of your divine nature previously inaccessible. As this activation increases, you experience enhanced recognition of your specific calling without external confirmation, deeper resonance with particular concepts, symbols, or expressions, spontaneous release of creative energy when aligned with true purpose, unusual authority when operating within your divine designation. Your earthly identity increasingly aligns with your heavenly designation, creating congruence between form and essence, between temporal assignment and eternal purpose. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 48,484 heavenly name activations. The prophetic timeline acceleration intensifies now as cosmic forces align in patterns not seen for millennia. Ancient prophecies from diverse traditions converge in describing this precise period as a pivotal transition point. The symptoms you've experienced recently, unusual dreams, unexpected body sensations, heightened intuitive perception, increased synchronicities, these are your system's response to the changing cosmic conditions. 7 specific timeline markers manifest in the next 40 days. Unexpected revelations that expose long-hidden truths, system failures that reveal fundamental structural flaws, unusual natural phenomena that defy conventional explanation, spontaneous awakening expanding beyond traditional patterns, accelerated manifestation between intention and form, revelation of technologies previously suppressed or hidden, unmistakable evidence of non-human intelligence interaction. These events serve as cosmic punctuation marks, definitive indicators of timeline transition points. They validate internal knowing through external confirmation, providing tangible evidence of what sensitive souls have perceived intuitively for years. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 49,494 prophetic timeline discernment downloads. I reveal now a truth about your physical body that explains unusual symptoms and experiences. Your biological system undergoes calibration to higher frequency ranges, adapting to carry increased light quotient without structural damage. This upgrade isn't metaphorical but measurable. Actual changes in cellular structure, neurological function, and energetic capacity. This recalibration process explains specific symptoms: unusual sleep patterns and intense dream states, unexpected sensitivity to foods, environments, and energies, spontaneous activation of dormant sensory capacity, fluctuating energy levels seemingly disconnected from normal factors, heightened awareness of bodily processes normally automatic. These aren't signs of dysfunction, but evidence of evolutionary adaptation. Your physical vessel upgrades to accommodate your expanding spiritual function. What medical paradigms might identify as disorder actually represents reordering for enhanced capacity. Type AMEN to receive the blessing of 50,505 physical recalibration accelerations. As this transmission concludes, final instructions download directly to your spirit. The activation continues beyond our communication, implementing automatically as you move through the days ahead. Trust the process. What has been transmitted remains active whether consciously recalled or not. Your assignment enters implementation phase now. The preparation period concludes. The resources are released. The authority is activated. The protection is established. The connections are forming. The timeline is secured. Where you have felt restricted, you now experience freedom. Where you have encountered resistance, you now find flow. Where you have seen only part, you now perceive the whole. Where you have stood alone, you now recognize your company. This divine appointment concludes, but its effects continue unfolding. The seals are broken. The scrolls are open. The transmission is complete. The mission is active. Remember, you were born for this moment. Nothing in your journey has been wasted. Every challenge prepared you for this assignment. Every delay positioned you for perfect timing. Every connection brought you necessary components. Every lesson equipped you with required wisdom. Go now in the certainty of divine commission, the confidence of heavenly backing, the assurance of perfect timing. What begins now changes everything, not just for you, but for countless others connected to your purpose. Type AMEN to seal this divine transmission with 77,777 angelic witnesses dispatched to ensure its complete fulfillment in every dimension.